the hottest thing out there. This hat, you can't get him.
All right, that was Donald Trump earlier tonight throwing his Make America Great Again hats to his audience after a speech in Los Angeles. Here now with analysis on the GOP frontrunner's speech and, of course, a preview of tomorrow's big debate, the author of A Disgrace to the Profession. Our friend Mark Steyn is back with us. You know, Mark, I'm listening to the speech. He's talking about vets. He's talking about making America great again. He's talking about, stopping illegal immigration, not being politically incorrect. All of these things are resonating. And I don't think some of the pundits, the so-called experts, I don't think they understand his success about negotiating better deals with Iran and China and Putin. I get it. Do you understand it?
Yeah, he's got something real. The immigration issue is real. The fact that the foreigners are kicking our butts all over these trade issues is real. The Iran and the Putin stuff is real. And just when you see him, what he's doing there, leaning on that podium, he hasn't. There's two kinds of political speeches in a presidential campaign. You've got a guy like Obama doing his teleprompter speech, doing those robot head swivels, like somebody watching the world's slowest rally at Wimbledon. And then you've got these guys who give these fake speeches that they've been up in front of the mirror all night practicing, like Mitt Romney's speech, I believe in an America where every American has the right to be as American as Americanly possible or whatever. And that's totally fake too. And whatever you feel about Trump, just standing there riffing off several core themes, he's real. And this is something that the Republican establishment and the other Republican candidates down in the basement with the single digits, if they want to get rid of him, they got to figure out a way to make it happen.
It's interesting you say all that. Between him at 2 or 3%, and Ben Carson at 22%, that's of a field of 16.
Right.
We're now looking at two guys that own well over half of the Republican voters right now.
Yeah.
Insurgent candidates, non-experienced politicians.
Right.
So I'm expecting tomorrow night that a lot of these candidates, they're going after Trump hard.
Yeah, I think.
Or does it backfire?
Yeah, I think they have to. I mean, in a sense, when you explain it like that, Sean, I feel a bit sorry for the guys at the so-called kiddies table, the Bobby Jindals and Lindsey Grahams, because in the scheme of things, there isn't really a lot of difference between, George Pataki's 0.8% and Lindsey Graham's 1.2%, and then Chris Christie's 2% and Marco Rubio's 3%. I mean, the real difference is between all those 1 and 2 and 3% guys and Trump and Carson. And all those people who said back in June that Trump was going to implode, instead we've seen the implosion of Jeb Bush. We've seen the implosion of Scott Walker. We've seen the implosion of Marco Rubio. So clearly, this isn't a flash. He's a guy who's been, to put it in his terms, put it in Carly Fiorina face terms, he's been living this persona for 30 years now, since he first became a celebrity in the 80s. He's not just a bumbling, stumbling blowhard. He knows what he's doing here. He knows how to pitch it, and so far it's working for him.
It's very interesting to me because if you watch the Club for Growth, they asked Donald Trump for $1 million. He declined it.
Right.
Now the Club for Growth is spending $1 million attacking him. I would argue they would be viewed as establishment. And then I read Bill Kristol. I have nothing against Bill Kristol, but Bill Kristol now is threatening to support a third-party candidate if Trump wins the election. And I'm thinking, what? Some establishment guys are going to pick up their toys and go home if they don't get their candidate to win this after Donald Trump was pressured by everyone to sign an allegiance pledge?
Well,
what's your reaction to that?
I think that was the genius thing. I think he gamed them on the pledge. They're stuck with him now. The fact is, if he's the candidate, that poses a lot more of a problem for half those candidates on the stage. You hear this stuff, And these guys sound like they're living in cloud cuckoo land to me. You hear that the donor class, because they're disenchanted with Jeb now, is thinking that maybe if Trump becomes the nominee, they're going to dust off Mitt Romney and run him as a third-party candidate. I mean, they are to blame for this situation. And there are a lot of...
I have said this. Yeah, you know what, Mark? He is a creation of the broken promises of Republicans that they made in 2010, repealing and replacing and stopping the illegal, unconstitutional amnesty. All right, I want to get your advice because we're running out of time. Real quick. If I'm Trump, I would hit the tone and cadence of the exchange with Jorge Ramos, assuming they go after him tomorrow. And if I'm one of the other candidates, I think I would want to stand out by articulating my vision to solve America's problems, not to be attacking someone else. What's your thoughts? Yeah,
you can't be Trump and you can't attack Trump, but you've got to match him in size. So you've got to say, I know I'm a senator and I know I'm a governor, but I can match this guy in size and nimbleness and flexibility. I'm not just the creature of consultants and minders. I'm not a performing SEAL who's been trained by my minders to give poll-tested responses, because people loathe all that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to watch the whole thing. Do you think I don't think any of these guys with low poll numbers, though, run a risk. Because what do they have got to lose if they attack him? I think it's really going to be how Donald responds to them that's going to be the news of the day tomorrow. Yeah, because you can't have, whatever it is now, 13 or 14 candidates at 2 or 3%. They're all going to be going the Rick Perry route, and it's just a question of the order they drop out. So one of them has got to try and actually bust out of that. But it's interesting, if you go back to the last debate here, Sean, people said, oh, Marco Rubio won the debate. No, it didn't do any good for him. Oh, John Kasich gave a brilliant answer about God balanced with compassion on gay marriage. He didn't get anywhere from that. You got to match Trump on the realness front. I think that's some superb advice. By the way, congratulations on the success of the new book. Always appreciate you being with us. Mark Steyn, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sean.